One of the most requested topics on this channel is for me to give my opinion on getting funded, proprietary trading firms, and in particular, FTMO. So in this video, I'm finally going to give you my view, and also towards the end of the video, I'll explain why I'm doing the challenge myself. Now, to be honest, the main reason that I'd avoided this topic for so long is because I've had quite a negative view on these modern prop companies like FTMO. But I didn't have first-hand experience of them, so I didn't think it was very fair for me to put out videos bashing them when I might be wrong. But that changed recently, and I now feel I'm in a much better position to give my opinion, but I do have to point out this is still just my opinion. Maybe I'm not right, maybe you disagree with me, that's okay. And if I am outright wrong about something, then you or the companies themselves can just let me know. The truth is always much better and much more important than just having your opinion seem to be right when it actually isn't. And I think it goes without saying, but let me point out anyway, this video is not sponsored. So let's start off with what I thought in the past about these companies. You know, I think there's a reason why so many of these prop trading firms seem to be popping up all over the place and advertising left, right, and center. And that's because the business model itself seems to be a very profitable one. Now, I'm not saying what I'm about to explain is exactly what they're all doing, only they'll know that, but I do think it seems fairly likely. So, a bunch of traders are paying these fees to do a challenge, and most of the traders don't pass that challenge. So, the prop companies are receiving these fees without any obligation to give anything in return other than the opportunity itself. Now, of the people that do actually pass the challenge, the small percentage, and end up getting the funded account, most will end up losing the account before making a single return from it. And the majority of those that do make a return will only make a very small one anyway before they eventually lose the account. So only a very small percentage of good traders will make a big enough return to cost that company a significant amount of money. So as long as the fees they receive each month from the people doing the challenge exceeds the amount that they have to pay out, they have a profitable business. And the terms and conditions usually state that traders are using a demo account that may or may not be linked to a live trading account. So it's not as if they have to put aside capital for each trader that gets funded. You know, if you get a 200 grand account, they're not putting aside 200 grand, or at least they don't have to. The funded traders could just be trading a demo account and getting paid their return out of the fees received from other traders. So this is what first made me feel quite negatively about these companies, because to me, it seems like there's a conflict of interest. The more people who pay the fee, whether they're actually ready to trade a live account or not, the more revenue the company has. And the fewer traders that get funded or make a decent return on the funded account, the less they have to pay out from that revenue. So that means they're incentivized to help traders to lose. And you see this first of all in the application process itself. The challenge, to me at least, doesn't prove that someone can trade. You could pass that challenge just by luck if you tried enough times. You don't actually have to know what you're doing. If they did want something that did prove that someone could trade, then maybe they'd change it to be something like achieving consistent returns for 6 months with a maximum of X% drawdown and achieving X% return, or something along those lines. So instead, the challenge is done in a way that lures people in, where it seems achievable enough even for people that are just gambling with their account that they might be able to do it. If you were actually wanting to decide who you were going to fund or not, then I'm sorry, but those challenges wouldn't give you any confidence in a trader. So that's a sign to me that the challenges don't actually matter to these companies. Then once you actually have the account, there are all kinds of rules and restrictions about what you can and can't do that make it fairly restrictive and increases the chance of you actually ending up losing the account by breaking a rule by accident. Now, if they genuinely cared about finding good traders and genuinely wanted to fund them and help them succeed, the challenge would be done differently, and the way they treated the funded account itself would be done differently too. Now, let's go back to that point about the demo account, because let's say that you're funded with a $200,000 account. Fantastic. You know that you're trading a demo account that may or may not be linked to a live account. You don't know if it is. All you know about is that $200,000 in a demo account that you're trading. But let's say that you are genuinely a good trader who consistently makes returns over a significant period of time with that funded account. Well, now they can see your performance stats. and they might decide, okay, we are going to link this up to a live trading account now, but you as the trader don't know if that's linked to a $200,000 account, a million, 10 million, who knows? But if you're genuinely a good trader, you might be earning much less than you deserve to be. They can look at all of the traders who they know can trade and look at their stats, figure out what sort of risk they might pose to them, and create some sort of weighted, diversified portfolio of these traders and start earning quite good risk-adjusted returns from them. And all they have to pay out for this service is a relatively small performance fee, since they have no idea about the bigger accounts that these are actually linked to. Now, I have to say, again, I don't know for sure whether this is or isn't happening, but this is just my opinion from reading the terms and conditions, putting two and two together, thinking about the ideal business model based on those terms and conditions, and thinking, well, what would stop them from doing all of these things? And probably more things that I'm not even thinking about. To me, it doesn't sound very fair. But that's what led to me having a negative view of these companies, and my opinion on all of this has changed. So last year, as some of you may already know, a member of my team, Connor, passed the FTMO challenge. So I got to see firsthand how it all works when someone gets funded. But the most important part was something that he said to me, which I hadn't really given enough thought to, that changed my opinion. He said, as long as you can genuinely trade well, so you're not going to lose the account, so you're not going to end up losing that fee that you pay for the challenge, and as long as they do pay you the money that you've earned and that you're expecting to earn, who cares how the system's set up? If you're making, say, £10,000 a month from them, but they're making £30,000 a month from you, does it actually matter? It's still money that you wouldn't have had without their service, and it in no way devalues what you can do and what you could do in the future. So it's only ego that makes you feel cheated. In reality, you're still gaining. Of course, maybe one day the company has some sort of issue and can't pay the money out. Maybe something changes in the future, regulations stop them from doing it. That's a risk that you take, but ultimately all you're actually risking is the initial challenge fee, which you get paid back to you if you do make a return on the funded account, and your own time. It's not your money that's at risk. So seeing things from this point of view did start to change my opinion, and then I started to look at other positive aspects of using a prop trading account. The first is that it genuinely gives a chance to people who don't have much money to be able to make a decent living or supplement their income from their trading. And this will encourage more people to trade with proper risk management because they don't need to take excessive risks on a small account anymore to be able to earn a decent amount of money. So this would be like a breath of fresh air for people who are learning to trade but worry about whether they'll ever be able to make money from it because of their current financial situation. Also, with FTMO specifically, and I don't know if other accounts also offer this or not, but they have two options for the type of account that you can trade with. And if you choose the swing trading account, which has a lower leverage amount, but more than enough leverage for most people, then it means it doesn't have as many rules and restrictions, so there's less chance of losing the account because of breaking a rule. You'd only lose the account if you lost too much money. Now I have to say, seeing that this account existed made me look much more positively on FTMO because they give a suitable option for people that aren't wanting to take excessive risks, and that makes sense. So actually, with all of this in mind, I have to say that my view on these companies has now changed, and I'm happy to admit that I was wrong before. I think if you can genuinely trade consistently, and you've seen that from your results over time, you're not just thinking that you can do it, but you actually have seen that you can do it, then this is a good option to apply for one of these funded accounts. But if you can't trade consistently, if you've not done it before, but you just look at the challenge as something that you are able to do, then don't bother applying, because even if you pass the challenge, all you'll end up doing is losing the account once you've got funding anyway. So let me explain why it is that I'm doing the FTMO challenge. There are a few reasons for it. The first one is a simple one. Lots of you guys and lots of our members are or will be applying for these funded accounts. So I want to go through it myself since I don't like talking about things I don't know about or have no experience of. And I know a lot of you want me to talk about funded accounts more often, so I'm going to go through it so I can talk about it. The second reason relates to something I mentioned earlier on. I think the challenge itself doesn't necessarily prove that you're a consistently profitable trader, it's just a challenge. And I think the right way to pass the challenge is not to follow your usual trading plan, but to use a variation of it that focuses a bit more on account balance management. So I want to go through it first so I can report back and teach people how I did it and what I think they should do in order to pass. The next reason is for our live stream trading sessions. We did these last year in our membership, where I trade live on a session, explain all my decision making, when I'm opening trades, when I'm closing them. And I want to do the same thing this year, but I want to create a sub account that we can use for those sessions. But the thing I was struggling with was how much to fund the account with. If the amount is too small, I wouldn't want to do more live sessions because the profits from that trading session wouldn't be big enough for the time spent. If the account was my usual account or another amount that's meaningful to me, I wouldn't want to trade it during a live stream session because it's distracting having to commentate what you're doing and I'm not going to get my best performance. And also, a big amount of money might be disheartening for some people because they might think, well, I'm not going to have an amount of money that size to trade with, so therefore I can't make good money from trading. So the FTMO account solves that problem for us. It's big enough to be meaningful, but it's something everyone can relate to since they know that they can get funded as well once they put in the work and become a consistently profitable trader. There's also the added benefit that I can have the returns from that account paid directly into Duomo. And as I've told you all in the past, contrary to what a lot of you believe, our education business actually makes us a loss because the costs outweigh the revenue that we make from it. So FTMO can help bridge that gap without me needing to put more of my own money into the company to keep it going. So I've paid the FTMO fee, the account's activated. We've not started the challenge yet, but as soon as I find the right trade, that will kick things off. I'll be updating people in our membership about how things go. So if you are a member, make sure you tune in for those live trading sessions. I might also do end of week recaps about my trading throughout the year on the Duomo channel. So hit the thumbs up button if you'd like to see end of week trading recaps. But if you do want to see more of my trades and understand how I do things, then make sure you sign up for our mailing list. It's free, the link is in the description box down below. I'll be sending out trade breakdowns every now and then, just like I did last year. So there you go, guys. Maybe I'll pass first time, maybe it'll take a few, who knows, but I am pretty confident. It doesn't seem too difficult. Either way, I'll follow up and let you know how things go and my thoughts if things change and what plan I use to get funded, assuming I do. So subscribe so you don't miss those videos. Hit the thumbs up button if you found this one interesting and if you want more content about funded accounts, and I'll see you soon. Take care.